There are a lot of things you can do in Torq that would require more than just the two hands you have. So we've built something into Torq called Snapshots, which basically allow you to save settings of the entire application and recall them with a single push of a button. Now the way it works, we click on the Snapshot tab here in the lower right corner, and this brings up a list that shows me all of my current snapshots. I've made a bunch of them here, but I'll go through an explanation of how to create them yourself. All you're going to need to do is basically set up the application the way you like. Load up whatever effects you like, load up any detunings you want, set the EQ where you want, etc. And then just take a picture. So for example, let me start a song here and layer on some effects. I'll start with a delay. I'll turn up the delay a bit. You can hear the delay running there. I'm going to feed this into a flanger with auto and push it through a distortion to give it some extra volume. Okay, these three effects have now been loaded into Deck A. I can save this as kind of like an audio trick just by creating a new snapshot by pressing the new snapshot button here. When I do that, a new line is created on screen and I can give this a name, like flange distortion. Okay, so now this has been saved right here. I'm going to disable the effects that I had on there and stop the music for just a moment while I explain all the columns here in the snapshot screen. The first column, which says assignment, is used to store the key command or MIDI command that's used to recall the snapshot. And you assign it just like you would any other MIDI or key command in the program. You just right-click. It tells you to press a key, so I'll press the letter U on my keyboard. As you can see, U is now shown up in the assignment column. Now there's a lot of different columns here, such as Deck A, Deck B, Key Effects, EQ Kills, EQ Knobs, etc. And there you can place little check boxes in these columns to indicate what section of the snapshot you want to use. Because anytime you create a snapshot, it's taking a picture of the entire interface, both Deck A and Deck B at the same time. But you might not want to override all those settings all at once, so you can just specify the various things that you want. In this last snapshot, I was just using the effects on Deck A. So I'm going to check Deck A and effects, meaning that those are the only options I want to override when I trigger the snapshot. So when I send the music going, all I have to do now is press U on my keyboard to recall those settings that I had just made. So there it is. When I release the U button, it goes right back where it was before. Now, if I had a different effect loaded at the time, such as maybe like a strobe or something, when I engage the snapshot, it replaces everything that I had before, and when I release it, it puts the effects that were currently there back in their place again. So snapshots are a great way to just jump in, mess with the settings a little bit, and then get back to where you were beforehand. Now there's a lot more columns here besides just Deck A and effects. If I wanted to create some effects that would affect Deck B only, I would go ahead, load them up here, set them however I like, create a snapshot, and this might be just flange auto. And this time I will select Deck B effects. So now when I right click and assign the letter O, when I press O, we now see the flanger show up on Deck B. And if I press U, we get the effects that I had for Deck A. Now the snapshots are polyphonic, meaning that you can play more than one at a time. I can actually press U and O at the same time and get both effects running on both decks at the same time.